Alright, P322. Hey guys, what's up? It's me coming from G&A today. So I'm going to do a full review on the Sig P322. So I've got about 2,200 rounds in this in 5 range trips. Just to start off on all this thing is awesome. So I'm going to give a list of a bunch of pros. There's a couple things I don't particularly like about it, but very minor things. So let's go. One of the best things about the P322 is the mag capacity. So the standard mag on a P322 holds 20 rounds. Now I've said this in other videos I've recorded on this. I can actually fit 21 easily into the magazine, not 20 here and 1 in the chamber, actually 21 in the magazine. And really I can even fit 22 in the magazine if you really cram them in there. Definitely has upped the ante, even from the TX22 that holds 16 rounds in the mag, and with the standard mag you can only put 16 rounds in that thing. Okay, another very good thing about the P322 is that it has been absolutely reliable. And there's a couple things that lead to that. I think one thing though is the fluted chamber that they have on this P322. I've got a short little video of that. I'll be showing I'll be rolling in some video here of showing that, of the fluting in the chamber. There's 5 flutes, little cuts. And as I said in that video on the fluted chamber thing, it's basically like an air hockey table where when you turn the air on and the air comes out of those little ports, that puck can just glide around on that air hockey table very smoothly. It could glide around on it before, but whenever you turn on that air, it just makes it like glass on there. And I feel like that's the same thing that's going on with this. With those flutes, those 5 cuts, I think it's acting like an air hockey table, and it just basically lubes the outside of that case where it just helps to extract it from the chamber just very, very cleanly, very, very smoothly. In the 2,200 rounds that I've shot through this, I've only had 2 malfunctions that were related to the gun. The rest was dud rounds. It's totally ammunition problems. Those 2 rounds I believe was a magazine problem. The first one, it didn't get in the chamber, and the second time it was poking up out of the ejection port. But those 2 malfunctions happened very early on, like within the first 500 rounds. Since then, so what, 1,500 rounds or more? Yeah, for sure, more than 1,500 rounds since then. I have had 0 malfunctions. And so in 2,200 rounds approximately, I've had 2 malfunctions. I own and have shot many semi-auto 22s. I have never had a semi-auto 22 that has been that reliable. I just can't say enough good about this. It shot all kinds of cheap ammo. It shot Winchester white box. It shot Thunderbolt. It shot M22. It shot Auto Match. And that's primarily what I've shot through this thing is cheap ammo. I've shot a little bit of mini mag and even some higher end stuff than that. But to me, especially on a handgun like this, I don't care if it can shoot super high quality ammo. I don't care about that. I mean, anything could do that for the most part. I want to know, can it shoot Winchester white box? Can it shoot Auto Match? Can it shoot that stuff that for me, you know, causes problems in semi-auto 22s? And it has. It has chewed it up and spit it out. This thing is awesome. All right, I would love to be more careful with my handguns and stuff, but I'm just fairly rough on things. Although I have carried it to, you know, with its own box to the range every time I've gone. But as I've been out on the range and setting guns around and doing stuff like that, not super careful with it. But this aluminum slide, with the finish they have on it, I don't see any scratches on it at all. So it's definitely taken kind of the abuse that I give to it, and I don't see any scratches. There's just one little scratch right here on the polymer, but you know that's going to happen. But I don't see anything here, so that's very good. In one of my videos I recorded, there was some dust right here on the front of the slide, and somebody said they saw that and thought they'd seen the same kind of defect on another one in another video. It was just dirt. There's nothing wrong there at all. It's no scratches or scuffs or anything. So I'm very, very happy with that. Okay, and as you look down the bore of the barrel here, you can see that the rifling and everything in there just looks very, very clean, very smooth. Very nice rifling. Okay, and I'm sure they'll come out with other models of this and, you know, different features and all that. But all of them, all the ones that are available now, and I'm sure every single one of the P322s will always be optics cut. This is optics cut. And so every one you get is ready to mount an optic on there. Now it is limited to the RMSC mount. And so like this Sig Romeo Zero is one of those. It works perfectly, and I liked it because the texture on this Romeo Zero matches the texture on the actual pistol. But the Holosun 407K, the Holosun 507K, the Shield RMSC, and there's several others with that footprint will mount onto the P322. But you do have to have one of those that has the RMSC cut footprint to be able to mount on here. Now with the Romeo Zero, I do have the metal shroud that's on here. This is one of the earlier models, not the Romeo Zero Elite. This is one of the earlier ones. I have this metal shroud on here, and I've shot, I don't know, probably 1,500 rounds or so or more with that. It's functioned perfectly. So the weight of that shield doesn't hurt it, and I haven't felt any problems. So I wouldn't think that anything that's even a little bit heavier wouldn't cause any problems. Okay, I really like the grip texture on this. The texture is very nice. It's very grippy. It's not too aggressive, and it's definitely not too light. To me, it is absolutely perfect. You know, that same texture on the front strap, on the sides, and on the back strap. So it definitely is very grippy in the hand. It feels very nice. And overall, it has very nice ergonomics. You can see the trigger guard undercut cuts up underneath the trigger guard, and it also cuts back into the grip here, and so makes it very nice for that. I dislocated this knuckle in high school football a long time ago, many years ago, and that knuckle is very fat from that, and so it fits in very well into that spot right there. Okay, this is a very ambidextrous gun. The slide stop is on both sides. Slide stop here, slide stop here. The safety is on both sides, here and here. The mag release is only on one side, but it can be swapped to either side for you. The mag release does protrude here. It's perfect. I mean, you're not accidentally going to hit that, but it is protruding enough that it does make it good to get on that mag release. Mag release does have some lines of texture on there. Okay, it does have very nice fiber optic sights. There's the front sight, and here's the rear sight that I took off to be able to put the red dot on there. Okay, the trigger pull on it is very nice. Clear chamber. So from right here, I am feeling resistance. It kind of gets to a wall, and then it breaks right there. There's the reset, and there's the break. About 3.5 pounds. Weigh it one more time. Yep, about 3.5 pounds for the trigger. The gun itself with an empty mag weighs about 18 ounces, a little over 1 pound, 1 pound, 2 ounces. Okay, all models come with a threaded barrel, and it comes with the adapter to be able to adapt to a suppressor, so very awesome on that. Okay, as you look at the base of the grip here, you can see that the mag well does flare out, and it does flare out nicely to be able to get magazines in there very easily. Okay, takedown is very good on this. Flip the lever up, and I found it's easier if you haven't pulled the trigger to leave it in a cocked state, so that we don't have to be pulling pressure back on that, because you're going to have to pull the hammer down anyways to be able to do that. So that just comes off the front. And one thing that I've found out is that when the takedown lever is in the up position, it acts as a safety and it won't let you drop the hammer, which is a good thing, because sometimes whenever you have this apart and you accidentally pull that trigger and the hammer drops like that without being able to hit against something, it can cause damage. So that's nice that when the takedown lever is up, you can't accidentally drop the hammer like that. So this is a hammer-fired weapon. It may look like it's striker-fired, but it's definitely an internal hammer where the slide just covers it up, but there is an internal hammer. Okay, one thing definitely I noticed as I think about how this thing is constructed, it is made very similarly. Now it's got a lot of improvements, but it's made very similarly to a lot of other .22 handguns like this. Here's the MP22 Compact. You can see how you got the frame with the fixed barrel right there. Here's a P22Q. Frame with a fixed barrel like that. Here's an SR22 with a fixed barrel like that. And then here's a P17. It's got this extra little plastic on here, but it's got that fixed barrel. But on the P17, it does have the recoil spring that slips around the barrel. And that's exactly what's going on with the P322. The recoil spring actually slips around the barrel. So there's not like a guide rod or anything. The barrel is the guide rod, and then you have your recoil spring right here. Okay, now for a couple things that I don't particularly care for, this rear sight base is pretty cheaply made, really. I'm not saying it's terrible, but on the first outing, I didn't have that Romeo Zero yet, and I was just trying to use these fiber optic sights, and I used the included tool, and I was trying to to loosen that screw right there, where I could slip it back and forth, side to side for windage adjustment. And I stripped that little screw out, or I rounded off the inside of that screw and made it where I couldn't adjust it. And basically I can't do nothing with that now. So that's definitely something that I don't particularly care for. Another kind of con to this is that these mags are relatively expensive. For a plastic mag, these things, the 20 round mags, cost $30 from Sig, and that's pretty much what places that see them every once in a while they're going for about $30. I mean, these are pretty much polymer mags. I don't have a problem with that, but you are definitely paying for R&D, not for the materials, when you're spending $30 a mag on these things. Okay, this is not an ultra affordable handgun like the P17, that's its thing. It's supposed to be super cheap. This is not. It's about $400, and at $700 to $800, yeah, I'm definitely out also. I'm not paying that much, but when you get it closer to the $400, like I did, then this thing definitely is an incredible buy. Okay, so the one I got, and I'm sure this is kind of basically the way they all come right now, is got this Sig box, which just has standard, foam mesh on the inside. It's not like it's cut out or anything. Comes with this, but it is a decent hard box, and then you also do get the two 20 round magazines. Also comes with the adapter to adapt to a 5x28 for a suppressor or something, and it has the tools for adjusting the sights. Okay, the slide fits pretty good on the frame. There's barely any wobble, just a tiny little bit, but definitely acceptable and definitely very good. Okay, the slide is fairly easy to rack, and even after that, whenever you're having to, bring the hammer down, it's still fairly easy to rack. It's definitely not near as easy as the P17 or the LCP22, but it's also definitely not like the Glock, because on the Glock, I think they intended for it to feel more like a center fire, fairly hard to rack. This is kind of somewhere between there. Okay, so for reliability, I've already talked about that. 2,200 rounds, 2 malfunctions. I've never had one that good, so that's awesome. Okay, for accuracy, I put it on paper several times, and definitely, I'll show you a couple of those groups, and of course, I'm going to show you some of the better ones. But at 12 yards, I was, on a bench, whatever, and not doing anything great, but shooting from a bench on a rest. And at 12 yards, I was getting, a couple times I got groups that are probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches, something like that. My final thoughts on this is that this thing is an incredible 22 handgun. This is a must-have if you're into 22 handguns at all. So if you're looking to buy your first 22 handgun, this would definitely be perfect for your first one and for your only one for that matter. If you are into collecting 22 handguns, yes, you absolutely have to get this one, definitely, no doubt. My thing is now is, okay, Taurus has put out a 16 round, Kel-Tec has put out a 16 round, Sig now's put out a 20 round. I just want to know how Ruger and Smith are going to answer what's been going on with these 22 handguns, increasing capacity like that. And I'm just interested to see what Ruger and Smith are going to do to be able to come up with something more than a 10 round mag capacity handgun. Okay, and I've already compared this to several other guns, so if you want to go watch some of those videos, and see, like compared to the TX22, I've got one to the Glock 44. I'm probably going to do one comparing it to the P17, so you can see size differences and stuff like that if you'd like to check those out. On top of that, it set up my garage for a while, so it's not been stored the best at all.